Hello again, lovelies. I am the Fragnostic, and on tonight's edition of The Holy Truth, we'll be taking a look at Survivor: The Living Dead, a very early access zombie defense title from Steam, heavily influenced by George Romero's undead classic Night of the Living Dead, which people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about like to parade about as the first zombie movie ever made. Nope, not by about 35 years, I'm afraid. What Romero did do is lay the foundations for far more visceral and violent horror movies to follow Night of the Living Dead into the mainstream, as well as assimilating a number of behaviours from other movies. For example, the undead curse being spread through bites or scratches, and its sufferers being susceptible only to destruction of the brain or incineration. That became the template for zombie movies to follow. If you've never seen it, it's public domain, so it's on YouTube. Go nuts. Survivor is an incredibly simple game with some minor puzzle solving and weapon crafting to get your head around. The opening sequence is a parody of Night of the Living Dead's opening scene, casting you as Amber, who is essentially Barbara from the movie except with ludicrous breasts, whose dickhead brother gets eaten during a visit to the cemetery. Just run. So yeah, we do exactly that. Fall flat on our chops a couple of times. Good lord, that zombie is fast. And escape to an empty house where the game begins, pitting us against the hordes of the dead for 7 long minutes. Your aim is, quite obviously, to keep these zombie bastards out of your new shelter. You can do that immediately by locking the doors and causing them a bit of grief on their way in, but there are plenty of other deadly traps and weapons lying around to help in your efforts. Poking around the house will reveal knives, pokers, pistols, shotguns, and the ingredients to a pipe bomb, which can all be used to violently thwart the enemy's rotten advances. You can also use wooden boards to reinforce the doors, push a wardrobe on top of the fuckers, and fiddle about with the gas in the kitchen, I'm assuming to cause some sort of explosion, but I never got round to actually doing it. Once you know where everything is, it's quite simple to hoard all your stuff together and go wait upstairs for the zombie menace to walk into your line of fire. The controls are simple enough. A and D to run, space to pick stuff up and lock doors, E to tackle the stairs and combine items, and sprint to run. Attempting to sprint past the limits of your sprint meter will cause you to fall arse over tit, sending whatever you were holding at the time skidding off along the ground away from you. Moving is a little finicky at the minute. It's easy to overshoot the stairs while trying to escape, and sometimes even tapping the keys to line yourself up to pick up an item can be a frustrating experience. Only being able to hold one weapon at a time is forgivable and forces some interesting tactical decisions, but not being able to hold a weapon and close the fucking door? Come on! I can't hold a knife and shut a door, is that what you're telling me? It's not like that's going to be any sort of decision or dilemma I have to engage in. I'll just put the fucking thing down, lock the door and pick it back up. It's just redundant. If a zombie gets a hold of you, even once, it'll rinse some health off your life bar, but it'll also kickstart your infection meter as well. This thing flies up devastatingly quickly, meaning that if you get bitten early on, you might not be able to finish the stage anyway. There's no way to slow it down, stop it or reduce it, so you end up having to restart the whole thing. Looking at the Steam page, it looks like there's a hell of a lot more on the way, which I'm on board with because this is a decent little game. The art's fun, the mood strikes a nice chord between classic survival mode panic and amusing brutality, and I think with the depth that's been promised it could be a solid title. However, one major bone I need to pick with Survivor is that my experience was unfortunately marred by the issues that the developer is currently having with the game in full screen, which forces you to boot and run the fucking thing in a ridiculous 576x432 window. Now, try as I might not to let that reflect on the quality of the game itself, full screen should be a bare basic in this day and age, especially when there's text to read that seems a bit dainty even when artificially stretched to an acceptable resolution as I've done here. Early access me all you like, I've said it before. Early access is not an excuse to throw a half-functioning piece of software out to an unsuspecting public and charge them money for it. Early access is not a get out of jail free card that allows you to finance your game while it's still in pre-alpha. It should be fucking playable, no exceptions. If it's a shaky alpha build, if it's a demo and you want to garner some feedback on it, it goes on fucking GameJolt or itch.io or one of those godless bug farms before you start asking for the cash. And to be fair to Survivor, it's not the worst offender by a long shot, but I'm just getting kind of sick of seeing it happen, to be honest. I don't want to have to run off to Steam refunds every time I buy something like this, and lazy testing is shit on the experience for me, because it's a poisonous practice to an industry that I love, abandoning a title in development that might have turned out to be something really rather decent. I think this is one I'll come back to when it's done. The basics are there, and yeah, there's the makings of a good time going on, but this is a game that I think needs the depth that's planned for it. I know more often than not I sit here and play shitty horror games and we all have a good laugh about it, and that's fine. But at the same time, it's not nice to see good ideas and hard work fail, especially from independent developers. You know, it's been said that videos like mine are harmful to the industry through their mockery of bad practices, but I'd say it's constructive criticism for those who can take it, build on it and improve on it. You know, no matter what jokes I'm making in these playthroughs, you can turn off the sound or mute me and the game's problems are still fucking there for everybody to see. The customer isn't always right, but they know what they like, and that's the important thing to keep in mind. Hope this one turns into a hit. I'll see you again soon.